I'm Janey Flanagan. Thank you for coming to our presentation today on e-learning and rewards for faculty and students and the institution. I'm sorry I can't be here with you today for Tech Day, but I hope that I can share some important information with you about factors leading to student success. So I understand that Rose has already talked about rewards for the institution and rewards for students and faculty, and I want to go into more detail about the factors that actually lead to student success in an e-learning course. There are quite a few factors that we should take into consideration. One of the primary factors that I've identified is personal self-efficacy of the students. If students believe that they can succeed in an academic environment and they're confident in their academic skills, then they do have a greater chance of being successful in an e-learning environment. Motivation and self-discipline is very important in the e-learning environment. We found that students who tend to procrastinate and put off their coursework until the midpoint of the semester have a much harder time catching up and actually completing the coursework. One of the other important factors that I've identified through some research that I conducted is that subject matter self-efficacy is very important. I read quite a few studies about students enrolled in math classes, and those students who like personal self-efficacy, those students who believed in their ability to do math, and they thought that if they thought they were a good math student, then they had much better success in actually completing the course. Those students who felt, wow, you know, math is not my subject and I'm not good at math, then those students did better in a face-to-face class. Another important aspect of performing well in an e-learning course are study skills and time management. We spoke a little bit about time management as far as procrastination, but what I want to address is time management as far as setting aside time when a student can actually do their coursework each week. We found that it's important that faculty establish a rhythm in their class, and that each week they're expected to complete some assignment or some activity. And so if students know that on Sunday nights their discussion board postings are going to be due, then they can prepare in advance and plan a time in their schedule when they can actually complete that work. So for many students who are taking online classes, who have busy lives and they might have children or jobs, it's very important for them to set aside time. For example, I'm going to study every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m. and that's going to be my online learning time. Those students who set aside that time to do their work have done better in e-learning courses. Not surprisingly, another important factor is reading and writing ability. Since most of the coursework is done through reading information, reading posts in the discussion forum, reading information on the web, it's important that students are able to process that and are fairly good readers. It's also important that they can write, because a large part of their work is graded based on projects, papers, and their discussion board postings. So they need to be able to think through their ideas clearly and put it in writing. While we are encouraging faculty to use greater diversity as far as resources that are available to link out to videos and things that are online, there still is quite a bit of reading to be done, because we don't really recommend that faculty link up to an hour-long lecture, video lecture, because people do tend to get bored with that. So having said that, I'm moving on. So technical skills are extremely important, and I find that this is less of a problem now as it used to be. I believe that in the past, students came to college and they did not have the technical skills that they have today. Today, using technology is so pervasive in our society that I think that they are actually coming to BMCC much more prepared in this way than they used to be. I think many of our students are using smartphones to access their course materials. Now Blackboard is available through an app that's available on the iPad and the iPhone, so students can access their courses through mobile devices like they could not previously in previous semesters. But the fact that I walk around BMCC and I see that students have smartphones everywhere, or they have iPads and devices, I realize that they are more savvy than students, for example, whenever I was attending college. So I think it's less of a problem, but it is important that they are comfortable using technology, that they're comfortable communicating with others in an online forum and in writing, and that they know how to use the internet, they know how to go find resources, and if they don't know how to use these things, it's important that they come into the e-learning center so that we can help them figure out what they're missing, because we do have e-support staff that are available to provide one-on-one support with students if they need help, but ideally we hope that students already are enrolling with these skills when they enroll in an e-learning course. The final point that I want to talk about that's a major factor of success is grade point average. We have found through institutional research data that we've collected that there is a strong correlation between the student's GPA and their success in an e-learning course. Students that have a GPA below 2.0 typically do not do as well in an e-learning course. That's not to say that this is across the board, because some students that have a low GPA may be in that situation because they couldn't come to campus, because they had children at home and they missed a lot of their on-campus classes. But students that have above a 2.0 GPA do complete their courses at a higher rate, and they are more successful in those courses. So briefly, I just want to talk about some of our pre-enrollment intervention strategies that we have at BMCC, and I've sort of already gone into some of these a little bit, but in more detail, we want to make sure that before students enroll in an e-learning course, that they come and speak to us in the e-learning center if they have questions about what an online class is like. We can show them samples, we can set them up with the tutorial, or we can give them one-on-one hands-on training. And we prefer to do this before the semester starts, because once the semester starts and students are actually getting their course materials from all the different classes that they're taking, it really is not the best time for them to actually start thinking about learning how to use Blackboard or learning how to use the course management system. We really want them to do this before the semester starts. So for that reason, we actually have a tutorial that we've created. It's actually in Blackboard. So when a student registers for an e-learning course, either online or web enhanced, or I'm sorry, not web enhanced, an online or a partially online class, then they're automatically put into our ELC tutorial. And this tutorial actually gives them the opportunity to play around with Blackboard. They have access as soon as they're registered for the course. They can actually use the tools. They can email their professor. They can practice taking a quiz, which is sometimes something that students get a little bit nervous about if they have never taken an online quiz. We like for them to practice that first. So it just gives them a feel for the learning environment, and it gives them some sample lessons that they might expect to see in an e-learning course. So that's very helpful to students. Before students register, they are required to complete an e-learning readiness self-check. The self-check basically just asks them questions about their abilities as far as time management, reading and writing, their comfort level using technology, and various other things. It doesn't actually block them from registering if they don't do well on it. The readiness self-check is really just meant to help them decide if it would be a good option for them. So finally, we have the GPA registration filter. If a student has below a 2.0, they cannot register for an e-learning course unless they're a freshman student or they have a 0 GPA. So this has actually changed now with CUNY First. We cannot block students between 2.0 and 2.5 as we used to. We used to allow students with between a 2.0 and a 2.5 to take one e-learning course, and then if they had above a 2.5, they could take as many as they want, but that option's no longer available. So basically, if they have above a 2.0, they can register for as many classes as they want. And also freshmen who have a 0 GPA can also register for as many e-learning courses as they want. So I've asked our academic advisors, and I've also want to get this information out to faculty, that if you're advising a freshman, then it's probably best just to encourage them to take one online class. So these are some of the methods that we have as far as reaching out before the semester starts. We also encourage faculty to try and make contact with the students before the semester starts. We can't require faculty to do this, but we have found, and I think Rose is going to speak about this in more detail, because she's actually had some success with outreach before the classes start, and her goal is always to have 100% of the students log in on the first day of class, which I think is a great goal, and she's actually been able to achieve it, but she actually works a lot to make that happen. So some faculty don't want to contact their students multiple times, and I would say that if an email or a phone call before the semester starts is probably a good idea. So I'll let Rose now talk more about that, and thank you for taking the time to listen.